Okay, welcome. Yeah, I hope you can hear me. My name is Mark Winkelmann, and yeah, I'm doing the Data What Friday today. I just had to look into our question bank, and so this was one question I found. And yeah, so let me read out the question first, and then I will provide you some, let's say, as I usually do, some options, right? So there's most likely no precise answer on that, so you have to do it like this way, right? But let me provide you with my experience here and how I handled these things in the past. So the question is related to personal identifiable information on business keys. So can you explain how loading process for artificial hub? So it means when we create an additional hub when a person, for example, is identified by a personal identifiable field. For example, it's like the first name underscore last name, or it's the email address, something like this. We have to use, or which is figured out as the business key, and how its satellite should look like. And yeah, so question is here also: do I load one UUID, so universal yeah, and yeah, very uh, distinct number here in artificial hub for each person or multiple ones. This is something I didn't get completely, but let me refer to that later. And if I have only one, or if I have only one UUID per person, how do I manage it in the ETL process? So should I store a lookup somewhere and use it in the stage layer? Question mark. So yeah, I prepared what came into my minds here, like three different scenarios or three different solutions. So let me show you the first of it. So the first of it goes a little bit against the general data vault approach. That's why I also don't like it most. But it, as usual, it depends, right? So if you have a business key here, I just focus here on the keys, and I also added the original primary key from the source table, which is mostly not PII data. So this is usually already a number or any other UUID already in the system, which is usually not PII data. So this is how a user table, that's my example here, taking user or person table from the CRM system, for example, and with your employee data. And here you can see you have an artificial ID or an auto increment number on the left column with just showing 1, 2, 3 ongoing. And you have the, let's say, the real business key, what was identified by the business as the business key. But this contains PII information. So now it depends how well this business key is used outside of this table and even outside of your source system. If it's only available in that system and nothing outside of this source system of this CRM system is referring to this business key, one option could be to integrate the data by using the technical ID here, right? So you're using the employee ID, this 1 and 2 here, as your business key, or load this column into the hub. And then you can simply treat the employee code, which is containing the personal information here, as a descriptive attribute in a satellite. And then you would also store the business key in the PII satellite, right? I think that's clear that you split PII data from non-PII data to make the deletes much easier later. And so this could be the first solution, that we, let's say in this case, ignore the real business key if it makes sense, right? So if we don't have too much trouble downstream, because then if all the other tables come with the business key, and then we have a problem, right? So then we fail this data integration properly by business terms. And that's why, yeah, again, here, it really depends, but could be, this is, let's say, the simplest solution, but should be careful because data integration could fail here. All right. So this was solution number one. Solution number two could be to simply load both values into the same hub, so that we have the technical ID and the business key into the same hub, and use a same as link to do this, what we call them passive integration, right? So there we map the business key to the technical ID. What important is that the satellites here, the satellites still need to refer to the technical ID here because we don't want to cut the relationship between the satellites and the hub when we have to delete PII data, right? So that means we still need to attach the descriptive data to the technical IDs here. But what we do as well is we create a mapping between the technical ID and the real business key, right? So that whenever someone comes with the business key, we can simply go into the hub like this one here. So where we have now both, we have the 1 and the 2, and we have these the business keys. And from here, we go into a same as link where we create the mapping then, vice versa, right? So you can, if the other system or the other data comes with the technical ID, you can go into that. If the other data comes with the business key, you can go into that same as link and get the other side, right? And then I didn't model the satellites here, but the satellites again still refer to number 1 and number 2 here to not, in any case, whenever we remove the data when we have to, this is how it would look like. We remove only the data we have to, and this is where we store the personal identifiable information. So we can still keep number 1, number 2, right? So that we know, okay, there was an employee with number 1, number 2, and we have some descriptive data about that, but we cannot no longer identify who that was exactly, right? And to still be able to that, again, important that the satellites refer to the technical IDs here. All right. Solution number 3, it's a bit more, let's say, scale or a bit more flexible, but you also create more entities here, is where we split the technical IDs and the business keys into 2 separated hubs. So also here, again, a reminder that the satellites need to hang on the technical hubs, right? So the additional hub where we store then the real business keys is only kind of a mapping, right? So that we are able to map a business key to the technical ID, but the data needs to hang on the technical ID. So that means we have one, let's say, employee hub here with the technical IDs. We have, and while I'm showing you, I saw that I messed up the names here. So here, this one, the left one should be the employee tech hub. I just called the tech hub. You can name it however you want. So the left one here should be the tech hub. The right one should be let's say, the business key. So the real hub. And then you simply have a link in between which creates the mapping. So very similar to the same as link as I have shown before. The only difference is here that we have the hub also outsourced. And in case of a delete request, we also have to remove. Also, never forget the source as well, right? In case you have a persistent staging area, you also have to remove the data there, right? Also here, if you use a data lake, then maybe thinking about either a delete mechanism which removes the data maybe from time-based, like every 1 or 2 months, for example. That's what I see sometimes, that the data lake is never storing the full history of years, but only a few weeks or even months, and then getting removed there. Or what's also very nice is when you use some newer technology which allows you to run ACID transactions on file level, and when using, for example, Databricks with the Delta Lake, or using in general iceberg tables. So where you have the better control, let's say, of writing, reading, and also deleting, so the normal operations on file level by using simple SQL code, for example. So this could also be a solution. This one solution. Never forget the data lake, the persistent or which stores the history. And also, of course, never forget the personal identifiable information satellite, which hangs again here on the on the technical hub here. And then you're done. So another part of this question was, or what if we don't have these technical IDs? So what if the user table looks like this, and we don't have the technical ID 1, 2, 3, we just have the primary key which stores directly the PII information. So then best practice here is to create our own artificial keys. So we create our own UUIDs if you want. And but this, of course, needs to be done up front, and we have to map it up front. And what you can do is you can create a big table of, yeah, let's say also an auto increment number. Let's say you have a couple of hundreds or thousands of employees at the moment, or different employee keys. You can maybe create a table and pre-fill already maybe 10,000, 20,000, not that much, right? Um, artificial keys, and then every time when a new business key comes in, you fill up and map this mapping table here, right? So with the keys. Then very important, you also, when as soon as you integrate the data now from this, let's say this is the staging area, when you load the data from the staging area into the data vault, so in the hubs and the links and the satellite, you of course you have to pre-join this mapping table. Then you have to pre-join this mapping table to get this UUID, and then same as before, right? So we talked about these three solutions. Let me show you how this would look like with let's say my favorite one, with the one storing everything in one hub and using a same as link here. So that's exactly the same solution as we have seen before. So, but only difference is that we create a bit more effort here to create our own artificial or UUIDs, and need to map them to the business keys. So this needs to be done, yeah, either programmatically, or you can also use, of course, it's also possible with simple SQL code if you have DBT, for example. All right, and then, of course, don't forget to remove as soon as you have to. All right, so that's the topic from today. Let me check the chat. The other non-deleted record in solution 2 still shows PII data. Let me check. I think it was this one here. The other non-deleted record in solution 2 still shows PII data. Yeah. So here the delete request was only on here the second one. I just wanted to show you that. So first of all, PII data for keys. So really PII data. I'm not talking about numbers, right? So really storing informations about the person, like names and so on. That's why I use here Mark Winkelmann 2, in case you have two employees, same first name, same last name, right? And only the second one needs to be removed, right? Of course, if you have to remove the other person as well, then you also need to remove here ID number 1 with Mark Winkelmann, also here this entry, and also the entry from the same as LinkedIn. Yeah. Sorry for the confusion. Maybe here maybe I forgot to explain that up front, that these are two different persons, right? Mark Winkelmann, Rick Winkelmann too. But as I said, in such cases, it's I prefer usually the such employee tables, user tables in the source systems are usually either not heavily used outside of the system, right? Only within the system. And then it's not a big deal to just use the technical IDs, most likely. So this saves you a lot of trouble or a lot of effort to do the yeah, this mapping, and you also have to consider it when you join it, right? So therefore, think about that maybe first, right? I know it goes a little bit beyond against the data vault methodology to not use the business key, but yeah, again, if the business key is not used very widely in your systems, then maybe technical ID is also fine. So other than that, I prefer this one here with the same as link, because this solution we use anyway. Every time when a business key can also change, right? Shouldn't be the case, or in best case, not so often. But in some cases, of course, business keys can also change that for yeah, whatever reason. And then we most people know this same as link approach anyway. So then we have this just one additional table, and we just do this passive integration part here and map within the hub from one entry to another entry, and this just needs to be recognized when querying the data, and you're done. Rather than sequential IDs, the UUID can also be calculated from an algorithm. Of course, yeah. I remember when we did a very similar thing with Michael, and we just used, for example, a combination of superhero names and something else, right? So it was to have a bit more also funny UUIDs, right? So or yeah, whatever algorithm you have, of course. They just have to be unique, of course. Yeah, so this mechanism here needs to be programmed that every time when a new employee comes in, which is completely new, that you assign this new employee one of your UUIDs you have not assigned any employee yet. So then, yeah, if you have any further questions, just send it to us by using this link here, scalefree or sfr.ee/dvfriday. Submit your question. And of course, don't forget to participate in our nice conversation, our nice community, the Data Innovators Exchange, DIE. So yeah, so we are basically very active there. It's a nice community. A lot of thoughts are shared there. And yeah, you can also ask questions there and you will definitely get also an answer from other experienced data experts which are there. So all right. I don't see any further questions. Then thank you for participating. Have a nice weekend. Yeah, also Valentine's Day today. Happy Valentine's Day. And yeah, see you soon. Thanks.